All right, everybody, welcome to Wrestling with Reality. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a great week. I am John, and of course, my partner, as always, is Mr. Richie. Richie, what's up, my man?
What's up, brother, man?
Sir?
Dude, you're playing like my favorite playlist of our opening songs right here.
Well, I did it just for you because you're special.
Vampiro, Scott Hall. I mean, come on, man. Marvelous
Me tonight.
I appreciate that, dude.
No problem.
We've got some great news coming tonight, dude. A lot of it spilled over just before we went live. We were talking about a lot of this stuff. We got a lot of topics to go over tonight. Of course, we have our main topic of the worst ever Hall of Famers, people that we think don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame in the WWE. Where is the Hall? Do they even have a Hall of Fame announced yet? Like where the Hall is actually going to be?
The physical location? Nah, they don't have it.
You think they'll ever have one?
I hope so. That'd be kind of cool to go see, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would for sure. Do you think it'll be like a traveling thing, like maybe when they have their PLEs or whatever?
Yeah, I think it should be at like one of their areas where maybe it's like a hotbed for them, where they could do stuff like physical building, ring, shit like that there for them. I think it'd be really cool. So
yeah, the Hall of Fame.
I don't know why they haven't done it.
I don't either, man. The Hall of Fame's kind of a controversial thing. You got a lot of people in there, from the likes of Kid Rock to Donald Trump to, I mean, you name it, dude. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's been taken out, put back in. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's really crazy. But, the Hall of Fame for me is really important. And one thing I don't want to turn this into tonight's political thing, so we'll obviously leave one of the entrants out. We don't need to cover that. We know how John feels about him. We know how certain people in the audience feel about him. So we'll just leave that one out tonight if y'all don't mind.
Yeah, no politics. Shit, this is politics. Wrestling. None of that bullshit, man.
Yeah, for sure. So
if
you have your interests out there, that's great. We support your freedom of speech and your beliefs, but just keep that one to yourself.
Yeah, we're here to talk wrestling, not the other bullshit that's going on in this world.
Exactly.
It'd be a good Jeremy? Topic, what's up, everybody? Let's check the comments here. All right, who do we got? Rabbi Moses is first here tonight. Greetings and salutations from your favorite rabbi. Shalom, my good sir.
Shalom, man. No shortage from the great rabbi. What's up, buddy?
Rand is here. Hey, yo, got 2 words for you. We are taking over. Nice to see you, Rand.
Okay, like it.
Blackjack, good to see you from Mike. Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. My friend, good to see you. Jeremy, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, Jeremy? What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, he did own the WWE once, Lawrence. That's true.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, he is true.
Yeah.
Rand, we're gonna cover that, man, because this has been debunked today. So we'll cover this in a minute. Yeah, so we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. So we'll get to that one, Rand, because there's some fucking piece of shit out there that's been starting all that stuff.
We got some hot towel. Oh, there he is. Rewind. What's up, baby?
He's here, man. Watch.
Here. Yep. We got some hot topics tonight, man. There's a lot of stuff spilling over in the world of professional wrestling and combat sports and stuff. And I just want to first start off by saying that Vinnie Mac, man, I wanted to get your live reaction. I gave you a little bit of a sneak peek of what I was going to tell you about. It's Vince McMahon news. He's been in the negative light as of late, maybe with his bag of toys and Janelle Grant and the rest of it. But this is kind of a cool one for me, man. I think it might be a good thing. Could be a good thing. Could be a really bad thing. Don't know. We had Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff announce that they were going to do a shoot fighting wrestling league. Now we have Vince McMahon throwing his hat in the race to buy BKFC. So it's the fastest growing combat sports league out there right now. Conor McGregor's involved in it. You got David Feldman, who took it from, I think it was negative 200,000 in the red all the way to they're profitable now. I think he's 500 in the green, 500 million in the green now. So it's kind of 500 million in the green. So I think that they are on their track to they're following pace with UFC's growth and how they started off, which is really great. I love combat sports. When you have the BKFC competing with the UFC, it steps everybody's game up, as you've seen in the wrestling world. Vince McMahon, it could be interesting, man, if he bought the BKFC and stuff like that. Before I let you comment on this, one of the stipulations that he wants though is full control, and I hear that negotiations have stalled just because of that alone. So
because he wants total control,
he wants total creative control.
So what does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know if he wants to turn it into like a wrestling gimmicky type of thing, which I think would ruin it personally. I think what they have is really special. What they have right now is really trending with the audience and really fast-paced growing. So I think they need to leave it the way it is. I personally don't want to see Vince McMahon's fingerprints on this. I think I like the partnership of Conor McGregor and Feldman. It's growing really nicely. But yeah, man, a silent partner would be great. They can always use the funding for sure. And Vince McMahon has a lot of it. So what do you think?
Man, Vince owning that would be interesting. It would be interesting. I've never watched like a whole show. Like I've watched I've watched some of the matches on YouTube and shit, but I've never watched like a whole pay-per-view or anything of it. Like, do you buy the pay-per-views and everything?
I do. So it used to be a subscription-based service, and you would pay basically, it was much like the WWE Network. You would pay a subscription fee to get the PLE included with their weekly shows and stuff like that, and then all the bonus content you would get. Plus, they have a bunch of other fighter leagues that were kind of like the minor leagues for them and stuff like that, which was really cool. Now it's to where it's on DAZN, I believe, and that's how you watch their pay-per-views and stuff, which I've had my disputes with DAZN. You have to subscribe, and once you subscribe, it's basically a year membership, and you can't cancel it. So that's kind of shitty in my opinion, but
and you can't cancel it at all.
You can't cancel it at all. Once you subscribe, it's I believe it's like $15 or $20 a month.
Okay. Well, it's just another of the million subscription services that you can have.
Right.
And if you're into that type of shit where you like to watch that all the time, you'd get your money's worth out of it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting with Vince, but the thing about Vince is outside of the wrestling world, has he ever had a success?
He hasn't. And that was kind of my thing that worries me is BKFC is something that I've watched since the beginning. And like I said, it's on a beautiful rise right now. I think that if you give Vince McMahon creative control, it'll be much like AEW's fall from grace. Cody Rhodes' beautiful vision of AEW, and you saw what it was in the beginning. It was really good. We were all into it. As soon as Cody Rhodes left, the vision left, and it tanked. And I think BKFC will be much of the same, dude. I think once you take Feldman and McGregor's vision and you go in a completely opposite direction being Vince McMahon, which is natural. When you change management, you go in a different direction. And that's what will happen. You'll go in Vince McMahon's direction. I think it'll ruin it.
Yeah, I just don't. He doesn't have a good track record outside of the scripted world.
No, he doesn't. And will he turn it into a scripted world? I think that will ruin it.
Rewind says VKM's going to sink that company. The reason he wouldn't let Shane buy the UFC is because it's not scripted.
Right.
Vince is good at wrestling and only wrestling. Silent partners find anything else, he will destroy it. Look at VKM companies besides wrestling, the XFL, Bodybuilder League, the Granola Bar Company.
He had a granola bar company?
I think he's talking about Ica Pro.
Oh, Ico Pro. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's talking about Ica Pro, where they had all the protein and shit.
Protein bars.
You get the Ica Pro shits from that stuff, from what people said.
Dude, I straight up thought he had a granola bar company. I'm like, Jesus
no,
Christ.
You remember Ica Pro though, right?
Yeah.
Boy, they said that people would say that stuff tasted like shit.
God.
You could still find it on eBay. Like people still have it, like unopened ones on eBay and stuff of Ica Pro.
Go with Christ if you're going to eat it.
Well, I don't think they're going to. I think it's just some, memento from it. I mean, Vince doesn't have a good track record outside of it. Yes. I mean, he's great in the world of wrestling for the most part, but
he also did have his finger on the pulse of pop culture for a long time, and he is the king of pay-per-views, man.
Granola bar, protein powder, all the same shit.
Right. Yeah, he had his finger on the pulse of pop culture for a very long time in the 90s and in the early 2000s, and then he fell off and got disconnected from reality, and we saw the regurgitated Raw every week that we got. But, would I think that at his age he would be able to handle this stuff nowadays? I don't think so.
He did have a granola company. It was called ECW. Oh,
Jesus, Rabbi.
Dana loves having power slap. That's his own.
Dana ain't letting that go, dude.
No, he loves that, which I think is the stupidest.
That's his AEW. He doesn't care if he's hemorrhaging money. He'll keep that shit alive.
Richie didn't even know about Bloodsport till a few weeks ago. We were talking, me and him were talking about it. He didn't even know about it.
Yeah,
Jeremy,
I didn't.
Are you a fan of it after you watched it?
I watched a few episodes of it. We'll see. Right now, it's kind of early to tell. I've only seen 2 episodes of it, so we'll see.
Josh Barnett's a turd, bro.
You think so?
I can't stand that fucking guy.
Yeah. I liked when wasn't he the announcer with Jim Ross on New Japan?
Yeah, New Japan shit.
Yeah, I thought he was okay. He's not great, but he's coming from a different world and trying to hop in wrestling. You can't do that. It's just
it never works. Shit, bro.
Unless your name's Brock Lesnar, it don't work.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to fuck with the dude. Don't get me wrong, but he's a snarky shit. There's something about him I don't like.
Yeah.
You know? The next person I'm going to talk about is another person I just don't fucking like, and I just think he's just a scumbag, and I think he's just a
Natalia, right?
Well, dude, fucking Natalia's a saint compared to this piece of shit. This guy is an awful human being, and then it goes with what Ram was talking about earlier.
Natalia, right? No, I'm just kidding.
No, poor Natalia. I'm not going to go on there on her. She's not an awful piece of shit like this guy.
Right.
I might not like her as a wrestler, and she might be really fucking annoying, but
this guy's a scumbag that you're about to bring up.
This guy's human fucking filth, man, and it's Bubba the Love Sponge.
Right.
So he started a rumor today that Hogan wasn't going to make it through the fucking night last night, and tonight he's on his deathbed. It looks like he's ready to die any moment. And I know Hoke had, some surgery recently, and I guess he's had some complications.
He had a neck fusion. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's had some complications from it, but it was quickly debunked. I hope to God it is not true, of course.
There's a lot of evidence that's proving it not to be true that I've seen. So
well, when you look at the trustworthy source being Bubba the fucking Love Sponge,
did you hear when he announced this how he said it too? The guy's like, well, what's your source? He's like, trust me, bro. Like, just trust.
Just trust. Yeah.
The dude that Hogan got in a fucking lawsuit with, just trust him, bro.
Yeah. The guy that blasted his business everywhere just to sabotage him and shit.
Come on.
Wasn't Hogan plowing his wife too?
Yeah, that's part of the controversy.
Yeah, he was like a cuck or whatever.
Without giving him money. Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't Bubba like a cuck or something like that?
Yeah, he's a total cuck. You could tell he's a piece of shit.
Fucking garbage piece of fucking trash human that he is.
Yeah.
Dude, when you start like rumors about somebody dying, you're a piece of shit.
Especially when it's somebody you've had a whole feud with in court and all that stuff. You're taking a big risk, first of all, financially, opening your mouth about something like this. You can definitely get sued for that, dude.
What are you going to sue Bubba the Love Sponge for? The guy is obsolete.
He's already lost all the money.
He's lost everything, man. He was a big name back in the day, and he lost it all, man. He squandered everything away. Now he's doing it, like what we're doing here, for a few good people that come out every week. he's doing all day. That's what he's trying to do.
Joey, you're absolutely right. They are all pieces of shit.
Absolutely, Joey. They are. And Bubba the Love Sponge is the top of the list, man. It's so bad for him now that he depends upon just living off of what he makes every morning with him and his dipshit crew by getting on Facebook and YouTube and shit like that. Nobody would touch that moron with a 10-foot pole.
To stir this kind of shit up and say that he's dying like that, though, is wrong. I mean, you're supposed to leave that to the family to release information and people in Hogan's camp. But just trust him as the source, okay?
Yeah. Bulldog's son was good. Was 40 to fight nicely. Okay. Let's see. Bubba was not a cuck. He was into the hot wife scene. Big difference.
Oh, rewind the expert.
Hulk already fucked Bubba's wife more than he could take from him. Yeah, I mean, literally, Hogan's life was ruined because of that. That was just one of the many things that has ruined his life through the years.
Well, it was a curse and a blessing in a way, man, because, I mean, he did get a lot of money from that lawsuit, and it really brought him back up, so.
True, but you think of what it did to his mental health, too.
Absolutely. And he looked like shit in those court hearings and stuff like that.
And I'm sure he's probably really got some bad health issues and stuff, especially with all the surgeries. Old, yeah, he can't help that. Bubba talks about him incessantly still, and it's so pathetic. What was that?
He's obsessed with him.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
He's like the ex-girlfriend that got away. It's
absolutely. Hey, what's up, Chris? Nice to see you, man. Yeah, Bubba the Love Sponge is a douchebag asshole. Never liked him.
Never liked him, absolutely. Yeah.
He's just one of those leeches of Hogan, that just leeched onto him, made a ton of money because of him. And I feel like he exploited him, too, in a lot of ways. He did exploit him.
He took advantage of him, took advantage of his celebrity status and all that stuff. It was ridiculous, dude. He was never a true friend to him.
For anybody that's ever, gone through a divorce, too, it's the worst period of time in your life. And for a lot of people, like what Hulk was going through, I think at that moment was they weren't in the right mental state. Some people deal with it differently. Some people detach. Some people drink. Some people do drugs. Some people just hide away and don't want to talk about it. Some people talk about it obsessively. Everybody's got a different way to cope with such a terrible thing to go through, you know?
Well, thank God you and I had each other. We were both going through it at the same time in our life. And it's let me tell you, man, when you go through a divorce, it's something ugly. It's not something that you want to go through more than once. I mean, I'm telling you. And you don't even want to go through it the one time. I mean, Jesus Christ. Mud gets slang and it's ugly, dude.
It's not a good process, man. And you get in a different mental state sometimes. And
you want it to be private. And then when they expose it and exploit it for money like that, it's horrible.
Think about what that man went through with him. I'm not saying he's a saint. I'm not sticking up for him in that capacity. I know he's probably done some shitty things too, but they were going through a really public and nasty divorce. He had the stuff with his kid. Bubba the Love Sponge, man, a guy like him, it's like Chris said, he's a D-bag asshole, man. He just leeched on to the guy and then to make up death rumors about him. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's wrong. It's so wrong on so many different levels, man.
Just terrible, man. And you see Hulk is struggling, like Rand said. He's walking with that Moses staff with how bad his back is, He's doing the best that he can do to get around, and it looks like he's trying to buy Hooters now. Have you seen that?
I did see that, and I think Hooters is having a hard time because there's a lot of different places that are kind of outperforming it and kind of new and fresh and hip, and I don't know if Hogan could reinvent Hooters. He might be able to, but we saw how his restaurant ventures all went. They all tanked, unfortunately. Dude, I just to get back on topic of that real quick, I think it's going to be a sad day for this podcast, especially because of how big a fan you are of Hogan and me personally too. I mean, when that day does come, it's going to suck, dude. It's going to suck really bad. So I hope the Hulkster, he will be immortal and live forever and run wild forever. But you know what, man? Like Paul Simpson here. Thanks, man. And thanks for showing up tonight. Hulk does still rule, dude.
I agree, man. And Bubba the Love Sponge, man, he can go piss off. What an awful human he is.
Wrestling with Reality's got a lot of love for Hogan, despite what his beliefs are and whatever, dude. You know what? The Hulkster's awesome in my book. And isn't it crazy? Like, how do you feel about the hate that he gets and the lack of respect he gets in the locker room, and then the hate from the fans too? It's really weird lately. Like, it's really popular to hate Hulk Hogan now.
I've been watching wrestling since I was 5 years old, bro. Hogan was what made me fall. I've said it a million times on the show. Hogan is what made me fall in love with wrestling. I loved him my whole life as a kid growing up. Hulk Hogan was my hero as a kid, like he was everything to me. And I loved, seeing him. And I loved everything that he did. And I don't agree with some of the things that he's done and said and how he's acted in certain ways. And I think that everybody, has consequences, like we all know, for our actions when they're not right. But I don't believe people deserve to be punished forever. And I think it's a bullshit thing that goes on in this world today where people punish somebody forever for a couple of mistakes that they made. I mean,
we all make
shit,
mistakes, dude.
we all do.
And who in here hasn't told whether
Yeah.
you're black or you're white or you're Mexican, who in here hasn't told a black joke, a white joke, or whatever just to get a laugh? Like, come on, man. You're lying to yourself if you haven't told one.
And how many of us have not said a stupid ass thing that we regret at some
Absolutely.
point, or acted a way that we're not proud of? We all deserve to, we all deserve
forgiveness,
to be able to make mistakes and forgiveness if you earn
Yeah.
it. And I don't really see what he's done to not earn it through the years. And I'm not a Republican. I'm not getting into politics. What? Because he supported Donald Trump. He used his right to support him and, do what he believed. Who cares, man? Like, let it be,
Sure.
let it be, let's let people do what they want to do and believe what they want to believe. And he had the greatest career ever,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love Sting, but he's not greater than Hogan, Jeremy, not in any way.
That's just, man, that's a tough one for me personally. I love Sting too, but Hogan's definitely, when you look at it, as far as who's contributed more and all that kind of stuff, we've had this debate several times. Everybody knows that I'm going to say Stone Cold Steve Austin 9 times out of 10, but there is a part of me that always wants to say Hulk Hogan next. So, it's a hard one.
Yeah. We all know stupid jokes and stupid things and say stupid things. People need to just move the fuck on, man. Like grow up.
Especially these young wrestlers and shit like that don't respect him because of it. It's like, it's ridiculous, dude. You would not be having the paycheck or the guaranteed money you have today without the Hulkster. You wouldn't. Everybody owes him royalties, motherfuckers. The NWO, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, they are the reason you have guaranteed paychecks.
And, when you hear guys like Nash, when they talk about Hogan, and those, the old school veterans, when you hear him talk about him, yeah, you might not like him in certain ways, but when you hear a guy like Nash talk about the respect that they have for him and what he did in his career and what he did and what he taught them and how he helped them, how he put them over and put them into the next stratosphere.
He legitimized all of WCW
Absolutely.
with one signature of a contract.
Goldberg,
Rabbi, welcome, sir.
Goldberg owes his shit to Hogan, man. Hogan was
Absolutely.
the biggest one pushing him in WCW.
For sure.
Listen to the story that Goldberg tells. He's told it, you could look it up on YouTube about how he was so nervous on that match to work with Hogan in the Georgia Dome. Mm-hmm. And he went up to Hogan and he's like, what are we going to do? And Hogan's like, just follow me, brother. He's like, I'm going to guide you through it. He's like, we're going to,
and he did. He made Goldberg a made man.
Yep. And it had a 17-minute match with them to boot and put him over in front of almost, 45,000 people. One of the greatest moments in WCW, in my opinion, was that. It was such a fucking cool night. I remember watching it. Mm-hmm. We should go back and watch that Nitro next week.
Are you talking about the one in Georgia where Goldberg wins?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I think that'd be a fun watch along next week. We haven't done Nitro in ages. Would you be down for that? Watching that Nitro from the Georgia Dome, the whole one?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun one to go back because Goldberg's career is ending and it's going to lead to Goldberg. But Goldberg, they'll tell you that story where Goldberg was he said he was so nervous and Hulk was such a pro to him and just took care of him.
Goldberg is the poor man's Taz. I gotta read that out. Give a shout out to our boy Rewind there.
Oh, Jesus. Barry Horowitz was better than Hogan. Jesus, Rabbi, no.
Come on, Rabbi.
When he didn't want to do business for Sting at Starrcade, I didn't want to be a fan anymore. Hulk is more popular worldwide, but he looked at Sting like a pissant. I don't know about that.
You know what, though? Jeremy, you got to put it into context, too, man. Sting was going through a hard time in his career at that time, and he wasn't really taking things seriously either. I mean, if you go look at Starrcade and how he showed up to that match and how that went over, Sting hasn't always been a perfect angel either. So I'll say that.
Yeah, it's a competitive world, Chris makes a good point here. He's often known to seek to getting his win back. That is true, but we have to remember he came to Luger and Goldberg and offered to put them over too. Absolutely, man. I agree. '98 Raven and Goldberg too. Yeah, Crystal. It
How's
opened
it
up the
going?
show if I remember. That was like one of the openers on there for that match. Didn't he have a match with Scott Hall that night or something too?
Yeah, he did. He
Because
did.
he won it. He won it against Raven like a week or two before or something like that.
Right.
And then he had to get through Scott Hall.
To
I think
get
it
to
was
Hogan.
first. Yeah, to get to Hogan.
Yep. And he ran him over in like it was like what, a squash match or something?
Yeah,
like that?
I think it was like 5 minutes or something like
5
that.
minutes. Yeah.
But I mean, he had gone through everybody. They put him through a gauntlet there, and it was so unexpected because people just didn't see it coming. They were really just trying to pop a rating. So
Right.
I don't know. I mean, for anybody who doesn't like Goldberg, go back and watch that time. Dude was fucking over, man.
If you weren't chanting Goldberg in your fucking house
Bro.
or in a crowd when you're in WCW, you're lying, bro. Like everybody who hates on Goldberg calls him Oldberg and all that shit now. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Goldberg has had his moments in wrestling where he's been incredible. I would have never forgave him if he would have dropped Undertaker on his neck and severely hurt that man. I probably would have never forgave him. But hey, man, he ended Bret Hart's career, so kudos. Just kidding.
Raven 98 was really good in WCW, some of the stuff he was doing, Chris. I would agree with you. I don't think they knew how to use Raven.
Yeah, they didn't. WWE never did. ECW used Raven to his full potential.
Taz was the Mike Tyson of wrestling. He was a beast killing the competition in ECW. All right, man.
That's a hard one. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I believe Sandman had a match with Goldberg in WCW, which is interesting. Goldberg had a match against every bum that was in WCW at some point.
You remember when he squashed Glacier?
Yeah, thank God for that.
That was the end of Glacier's run there.
Well, I'll leave that would be with Hogan. We'll do that next week. That'll be a fun watch along next week to watch that episode of Nitro. We'll go back in time for a little WCW. We haven't done a good.
I think Goldberg's streak would be a great topic to do also after his retirement match. I think that would be a good topic to open up with, and then we go into the watch along.
Yeah, we'll go back and revisit it a little bit.
Maybe we could do who would we have put to end the streak.
Sure. I like that one, actually. It's a good topic, man. We can do that after the watch along for sure.
Awesome.
Do you think Goldberg is going to win the championship against Gunther?
I don't. I think Gunther's going to beat Goldberg. I think Goldberg's going to do the honors on the way out of the business. I don't think they're going to do another title run for him. I think this is it. So what about you?
You know, I think the cheap way to do this is to have Goldberg win, beat Gunther somehow or another, win the title, and then have Seth Rollins come out, cash in the Money in the Bank, take him out.
Well, I will say that you called this whole thing. You said that Goldberg was going to go against him at Saturday night's main event in Georgia because they were having it there, obviously, and it's a perfect scenario to bring Goldberg back. We saw it, the writing was on the wall when they had that promo a couple months back with Gunther and Goldberg. You knew it was going to happen because, you heard Goldberg after the mic went off that he was next. So we knew something was gonna happen, right? So I think you're right in the fact that this is a cheap way to put Seth Rollins back on the map as the champion. You're absolutely right.
It's a shame it happens at Gunther's expense, to be honest with you.
I love Gunther, dude. I think
too.
he should be on the top forever, like for a good while. Gunther is the reason why I watch right now. He's funny as shit, dude.
Dude, Gunther's phenomenal. I know Rewind's not a fan of him, and maybe some people aren't, but this is the way to probably get the belt off of Gunther really fast. Have Goldberg go out and then just have Seth Rollins fuck it all up and ruin the whole mood and cash in that night.
Rewind, I'm sorry. Gunther does the Taz mission better.
Oh, shit. You're throwing bombs at him right now.
Just saying, bro. Just saying.
People who hate Goldberg had girlfriends who lived in Canada.
I agree, Joey. I agree.
Goldberg had a great run, man. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the biggest Goldberg fan, but he had a hell of a run. Notice that shirt Goldberg had on last night. He was holding the world title. Yeah, I know you'd like that one. It's kind of that you were talking about earlier, that throwback to like an old baseball shirt.
It would be kind of sick to see Goldberg with that new style of the heavyweight championship because it looks like the WCW belt, right? I mean, that would be cool to see for a moment. I don't want to see him with the long run, but just to have a quick cash in on him, I think that would be kind of cool. I'd be okay with it.
Bro, his legs are shot, bro. Did you see how he was walking?
Dude, he's a football player. I mean, he's going to have bad knees.
I can't see how he's going to be able to go in the ring with this guy, man.
I played hockey and football for a lot of years, dude. I have horrible knees because of it, that in the military and stuff like that. So, we know why he has those injuries. He's an old man, and Father Time doesn't wait for anybody. So,
I see him, and I think about it as somebody with dreadful knees who's had a knee replacement and 5 surgeries on my leg. I see this guy hobbling in there, and I know the feeling of what it's like to walk through that agony every day. You do too.
Yeah.
You know what it's like. It sucks. I can't believe that motherfucking guy is going to try to get in the ring. He just
I'm
he
just
could
worried
barely
if he,
get down the ramp, bro.
at this moment they need to just use his finisher as the spear. Like, please don't do the jackhammer, dude. If you drop Gunther on his fucking head and do
It's
an
gonna hurt
Austin
him.
moment, he's gonna hurt him so bad. And Gunther, I think Gunther, if I'm not mistaken, weighs more than the Undertaker, and we saw how that happened.
Gunther looks like just a guy that's a solid dude too.
Yeah.
Like when
that's
he
going
works.
to be a hard person to lift like
Dude,
that.
Goldberg might learn a lesson really fast getting in the ring with Gunther, because Gunther wrestles really snug.
Yeah.
And those slaps that he hits, I want to see him hit one of those slaps on Goldberg. You think Goldberg will take one of those slaps from him?
Oh, God. Rewind's at it again.
Uh-oh.
Jesus Christ.
I'm telling you, Richie, let me massage you. I'll make those knee pains go away, buddy. I know a little acupuncture, too.
I appreciate it. I'm going to have to respectfully decline, bud.
Spear and jackhammer, Rabbi says to Gunther. Title is his in under 30 seconds.
Is that how you would book it?
I don't want to see a series of matches with them in there.
See, my opinion was I wanted Goldberg to go against Braun Breaker. I really thought that would have been a cool match because they both have the same style. You would draw the conclusion of Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner, that tie from WCW. It would have made a lot of sense in storytelling, and you wouldn't have to make Gunther look bad, and you wouldn't have to worry about the heavyweight title being in the picture.
You know why Gunther's in there with him, though, right?
No, I get it. I get it. It's the whole since the Bret Hart thing. This is why.
No. It's not just that. There's a reason Gunther's in there with him.
Why is that?
Gunther's the best damn worker on the roster.
Oh,
hands
sure.
down.
Well, if that's what okay.
That's what I mean. Like Gunther, if Gunther can't get
make him look good.
Yeah. If Gunther can't get a decent match out of him, then that's going to be saying a lot. Because
but William Regal is a great worker too, and look how that fucking debacle.
Yeah, and that was Goldberg in his younger years too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for Gunther, they put him in there because they had to honor this last match on this contract. They had to honor it and do the whole thing with him and give him what he wanted. I think part of it's trying to combat AEW as well, and then the other part is with Gunther being in there is. Gunther's a pro, man. If anybody's going to work with Goldberg and get something out of him, it's going to be him. Braun Breaker and Goldberg would be a fucking train wreck of epic proportions. And I like Braun Breaker. But
I do too. I love Braun Breaker.
I think Goldberg would die in that match.
Since I started podcasting with you again, I didn't like Walter. I didn't like Braun Breaker when I saw these guys at first. But, man, I'll tell you what, since I've been watching this product religiously again, these guys are fucking the shit, dude. They are the next generation for sure.
Braun Breaker's a world champ, hands down.
Absolutely.
Hands down, he's going to be a world champ.
Yeah, Lawrence, I would have done that. I would have done Braun versus Goldberg. I think that would have been the right call to make for his retirement match.
Interesting.
Because you got to understand something. Gunther's already a made man. Braun is still in that in-between stage, in my opinion. So,
yeah,
that would have been a good lashing on his belt to have to retire Goldberg.
Well, talking about some of the young talent and talking about Gunther, talking about Goldberg, we got to talk about this guy now because he had a fucking meltdown last week. Rikishi.
Oh God, you and I talked about Jesus Christ.
This guy is a fucking toolbox, bro.
Listen, I've met Rikishi, and he was a nice guy and everything like that in person. But my God, like whoever gave him the idea to do a podcast and shit like that, he is the biggest crybaby and race baiting motherfucker on the planet. Like,
he's insufferable, isn't he?
Like at this point, how are you? The WWE has featured your family as this gigantic dynasty and built this beautiful storyline to honor your family, and you still somehow find a way to say they're racist, that they're taking the title off your son.
Isn't he part of that new ID program where they go to his school or something too? The Knox Pro or whatever wrestling, isn't that his?
Yep. Yes.
This fucking guy is getting opportunity after opportunity with them and is getting paid a Legends contract. He's getting paid to be with his developmental territory for him. His kids are making millions a year from there. And he's
taken care of for life. And he somehow is drawing the conclusion that they're racist. That Triple H is racist for taking the title off his kid who really didn't deserve it after the fucking behavior he had outside of the ring. Getting arrested time and time again and shit like that, DUI, drinking on the aftermatch of the PLE and stuff like that in the post show.
Absolutely shit-faced on it.
Shit-faced, looking embarrassing, and you're telling me that like WWE gave him a chance. He shit the bed with it. They didn't do anything, you know. So I'm sorry. Like when it comes to Gunther being the champion, he is an actual professional. He's not out there looking like a dumbass.
And he's marketable, and he's somebody. It's not just the Yeet sunglasses and the whole Yeet crap.
That's all marketable and great, and I think it's entertaining. But the way you present yourself outside too, and you're an example to kids, you're an example. You know what I mean? Like you have shareholders, things you got to worry about in business. Like that's not the person you want to represent your company.
He said it for The Rock. He said it for the people.
Yeah.
They dropped the belt off of Jay because he's going to win King of the Ring. I agree with you on that rewind too. Jay will be a great King of the Ring. I agree because it's a solid mid-card, mid-level, upper mid-card level type thing. I think it's a good thing. I agree. And I guarantee he's going to win that belt back. Interesting. I don't
think so. I think the Usos are going to be tag team champions here real soon. That's what they're going to go back to.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Rabbi Moses. They're not releasing, and those
guys ain't going nowhere. They're moving too much merch to go anywhere.
No, all of them. Yeah. With Rikishi, going back to him though, like this fucking guy is like,
why is he so sour grapes, man? Is because he was never champion? Like what is it?
If it was up to him, it would you'd have Jay as the champion over on Raw. You'd have Jimmy as the champion over on SmackDown. You'd have Jacob Fatu as the the U.S. champion. You'd have Tama Tonga as the IC champion. All he wants is he thinks that all the Samoans should have every part of everything in professional wrestling, and some of them are great. Don't get me wrong.
That's all great and fine that you want your family to do good, and I'm not hating on other people, man. That. But don't go out there and act like the WWE is being racist after they just featured your whole family dynasty in this beautiful storyline. Like, come on, dude, really?
And let's be realistic. The man that has made it relevant for them over the last, decade is Roman Reigns. Yeah.
And The Rock.
Yeah. Roman Reigns, man. And The Rock, when he comes back and does the whole feuds and storyline with them, the bloodline stuff was great. We all know that. We've talked about it incessantly here on the show through the years. Roman Reigns is the one that's made him all the money and has brought him into that. Roman Reigns, not Jimmy and Jay. Okay?
Absolutely. Hey, Christopher.
Yeah. Fucking Roman Reigns is the one. So
absolutely,
it's great, but there's other people you got to rotate around. And sometimes it just doesn't work out, and you just move on from the idea. And
it's not to say that they're not going to do it at a later date, and maybe he'll get his act together and shit like that. But I'm telling you, man, like Rikishi needs to just learn to shut his damn mouth and just sit back and enjoy the show. At least your sons are being featured every week. There's people that aren't even getting a spot on the show. You know
what I think with him is what it is too, because I remember years ago when they had that show, what was it, Total Divas or whatever? Do you remember when they were you remember that show, Total Divas or whatever?
Yeah.
And he was on there with Naomi at the time, and he would talk openly about his father and how him and his brother were pretty estranged from their dad growing up.
Well, Rikishi didn't accept Naomi when they got married either because she was African American.
Yeah. And they had a whole to-do about how he wasn't even almost going to be invited to the wedding or something.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it with him is that he probably feels like a shit person and parent because he wasn't there, and the kids probably had some issues with him and the way that he acted. And I think it goes back to something like that. So he thinks this is his way that he's going to help his kid out all the time, is by constantly, incessantly talking about him. And I think it's the complete opposite effect. And I think it could be the biggest thing to really take him out, because WWE, man, they've shown you pretty ruthlessly many times is nobody's above the brand and the product over there.
Absolutely. They're not interested in building stars anymore.
They don't want your drama and your bullshit, man. So they would send that kid packing too if he becomes too much of a nuisance, I think.
For sure. 100%. In a heartbeat. They don't care how much money you make them. They'll just make another one behind you.
You got it. Lorraine says Gunther did do the job to Jay at WrestleMania tap out, which I disagree with as a finish.
Yeah, they had him tap out. What kind of ridiculous shit was that?
Yeah. I mean, how many times did Jay ever have a submission move before that?
What a joke.
They had him tap out fucking Gunther, you know?
Yeah,
who
one
is
of the most unstoppable guys the whole year, and then you get that kind of finish. You'd think he'd be grateful. I mean,
shit.
Jesus Christ.
It's even beyond that, man. Gunther has been ruling the WWE universe for 5 years or so now in
Yeah.
some capacity. When he was in NXT, when he was in the NXT Europe, that they were doing. Then when he went to regular NXT, then when he came up to the main roster, his 666-day title run as the IC champion, world champion. Like, he tapped Gunther out.
No.
I think they really did his boy a solid on that one.
Absolutely, dude. They took care of him.
The whole family's ungrateful. Roman's dad threw a fit after WrestleMania 31 because he thought Roman should have won despite nobody wanting him to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like they just they overvalue themselves sometimes.
For sure.
Maybe he's building up to a big title fight where he makes a comeback against Gunther.
Oh, God, I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to call the delegation. Jesus.
There's another name of his faction for the Samoan one, said the African Americans.
Samoan delegation.
He's the leader of the Samoan delegation.
There we go.
Rikishi is one of the worst Hall of Famers. We'll talk about him. He's a good. That's a good lead-in. That's actually a good lead-in right there. Rikishi is on my list as one of the worst Hall of Famers for me. But we'll talk about him in a second. So I'm going to throw it out there to you guys too. Throw some of your suggestions who you think are some of the worst WWE Hall of Famers of all time. Put them in the comments. Let us know what you think. If we do a little open mic segment afterwards, maybe you can come on and discuss them there if you want to. But Rikishi would be on my list as one of the worst Hall of Famers. I don't understand, other than the Too Cool stuff, how you could say this guy had some legendary career. I mean, he was Make a Difference at one point. I know he was in the Head Shrinkers. He was the Sultan.
I think the Sultan was one of the worst.
Oh, it was awful. It was just fucking terrible. He was, Make a Difference. Fatu. He tried.
Take the reins just for a second, John. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure. No problem. He tried everything to get over and never did. And then the whole thing with him doing the stink face and stuff got him over with Brian Christopher and Scotty Too Hottie there as Too Cool, which I thought was a cool faction. Hall of Famer? No fucking way. I don't find it to be a Hall of Famer. What do you guys think about Rikishi? Do you think he's a Hall of Famer? I think he's up there as one of the worst people on the list for sure. For me, I just don't see it. Just can't. I don't like the celebrity wing either. To be honest with you, Rabbi, I'm not a big fan of the celebrity wing in any way. And I'll throw one out there for the celebrity wing. Drew Carey. All right. Why the hell is Drew Carey in the WWE Hall of Fame for one quick thing that he did at a Royal Rumble appearance? I mean, I'm not a big fan of this celebrity wing. It just doesn't do it for me. Like, not many of them are really good that went in there. Can't say worst Hall of Famers, but I find it horrendous that Christian Cage, Tommy Dreamer, Raven, and Taz aren't. Not a fan of the celebrity issue either. I agree with all of those picks, and I think all of them except for Raven might go in one day. I mean, maybe Taz for them, maybe. I think Tommy Dreamer definitely should be. Christian Cage, absolutely. I think when he's not under AEW contract and when he actually retires one day, I think you'll definitely get Christian in there. Tommy Dreamer, I think, should go in there as well for his contributions. I'd love to see Raven go in, I think, as well. He had a hell of a run. I just don't think that they have any interest in dealing with him. So I don't think that he would go in for that reason right there. Taz, we know Rewind would agree with this, but I think Taz is a guy that should go in for ECW too. I think he just was such a huge pivotal part of ECW that he should go in. So I like those picks, Chris. I think they're good. What about you, Richie? You think Rikishi should be in the Hall of Fame?
He is in the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. That's what I'm saying. Do you think he should be in it, or you think
Yeah,
he's one of the worst selections?
I mean, he's not a horrible pick. There's definitely a lot worse picks that have been in the Hall of Fame. Rikishi, he's not a bad one, and I'm not saying anything what he did in the ring, just outside the ring, how he handles himself as a person. I don't particularly like that. I think he's got a huge chip on his shoulder because he thought he was a bigger star than he was. But for what he did do, I think it was Hall of Fame worthy. Not in aspects of like titles or anything like that, but who he was as a character, as the Rikishi character. I think he was an important part of the Samoan dynasty.
Man, I can't co-sign on it. I think he's a terrible selection in every way. I do.
No.
And I like Too Cool. Like that was the only part of his career that I was really into.
Sure.
Paul Orndorff said it best about the Hall of Fame. I got a good dinner, I got a good payday, and a $5 plaque that I left in the hotel room. Natty's, I can guarantee you she's going to go in one day.
Drew Carey is a kinky motherfucker. I was not putting that on my bingo card for tonight. What the fuck? And what am I reading right now?
He did it for The Rock, yes. Let's see, Lorian says, Rikishi in the Hall of Fame, did he have a heap of accomplishments to get into the Hall of Fame outside of being a favorite for people growing up? I don't think he did have the accomplishments to get in outside of being just a fan favorite.
Yeah, maybe, title-wise, he definitely didn't. So
Natty gets in the Hall before Taz. Boy, those are fighting words Rabbi's throwing out to Rewind right now.
Dude, I don't think that's Rewind anymore.
No, I don't think he'd write that fucking blasphemy. He's not putting
Drew
that.
Drew Carey is known in the so is Jim Cornette Rewind, so that doesn't say much.
That's right, isn't he? Right?
Yeah.
A lot of people were fans of him growing up. He has his own dungeon.
Good Lord, I don't even want to picture that, bro. What is he, a host of Whose Line Is It Anyway in the BDSM shit?
That is the stupidest fucking show ever.
Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah, I hated it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't find that type of improv funny. But that's just me.
Yeah, I never was a big fan of it. It would always piss me. I mean, it came on late night television when nobody was watching anyway, so I could take it or leave it.
All right, give me one of your choices for worst Hall of Famers of all time.
Worst Hall of Famer. God, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head right now, but I will say if I can give one that I think should be in. I'm gonna say the worst one right now in my mind that I'm thinking of because of this situation I'm about to say, and people can take this controversially. You can get mad, whatever. I don't care. I have my own opinions. You have your own. Chris Benoit should be in, and Jimmy Snuka should not be in if you're not going to let Chris Benoit in.
Good pick.
I'm sorry. I mean, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, Jimmy Snuka, on his deathbed was going to be convicted for his girlfriend's murder.
Yeah, they declared him mentally unfit, right?
He was mentally unfit, and I'm just speaking. This is my opinion. You can say whatever you want. You're welcome to it. I'm sorry, but if you're gonna let Jimmy Snuka in and keep him in, even knowing what we know now, then Chris Benoit should be able to be in as well.
No, I mean that's a very valid point, man. Rewind agrees with you too.
Yeah.
Hold on, really quick. He's got Chris has a question. He says, "John Ritchie, y'all are prior service. Did you all know Drew was in
what the fuck? I didn't know that at all. Thank you." That's pretty funny.
I think I remember hearing that, but I don't remember that I would have I remember hearing about it, I think, now that you mention it, but it wouldn't have come to my mind at all. Yeah. Can you picture Drew Carey in the Marines?
Oh boy. There were some people that I came up with in the military that I didn't expect to be in there. So it's not, you guys would be surprised, some of the people that get in there.
I mean, I've seen some goofy fucks, man. I mean,
you saw some goofy fucks.
Did you see that parade this weekend with them marching and just how sloppy it was?
Yeah, they're getting rid of drill and ceremony in the military.
What was going on with that with the military, man? I'm telling you, when I saw that drill and ceremony, those guys couldn't even fucking march in step. They just, I couldn't believe that, man. Because you and I are, you went in what, 08?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in an 02, man, and you could not do that shit. You get your
you'd get smoked bad.
Bad if you look like that, man. They drop you right in front of your fucking parents. If your parents were watching that and you were doing that,
they'd tear your ass up.
I mean, it's crazy to think Drew was in, but I mean, maybe he was an athletic guy growing up. I don't know. I don't really know much about his upbringing. I just couldn't see that, man. He doesn't strike me as somebody that would be in the Marines, but I think I remember hearing that too, Chris. And Chris also agrees about the Jimmy Snuka thing. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, for sure.
I gotta go
if you're going to accept it on one end.
His MOS was a field radio. Wow. Yeah, well, I could
kind
of
see
that.
He was in the Signal Corps?
Yeah, I could kind of see that a little bit, maybe. I mean, I don't want to judge anybody by the kind of nerdy appearance, but
right.
I could kind of see it maybe being that. I agree with you on this one, Jeremy. I thought nothing against Tugboat, Fred Ottman, or John Tenta, the natural disasters. I thought this was a sham to put like them in over Demolition.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the Midnight Express aren't even in yet.
No, Midnight Express are not in yet, and that's a shame in itself, dude.
Allison is his middle name. Jesus. The Drew Carey facts we're learning tonight right here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That took over the show pretty quick.
Yeah. Man, everybody knows a lot about Drew Carey here.
Yep.
Yeah, he is in there as Typhoon, Typhoon Tugboat, whatever the character.
Yeah.
You know, that the characters that Fred Ottman played, but you know, as Typhoon, I don't buy him to go in as Typhoon or Tugboat or anything. What about you?
Yeah, I don't think he should be in there yet. Maybe down the line. He's always going to be one of those guys that's synonymous with that time frame of wrestling. He was on there and featured quite often. So, you know, he's going to be there. He's got to be there at some stage, but to put him in there before the likes of those type of people, I agree, dude. You know, it's kind of a bad one.
Yeah.
You know, I can't seem to figure out why Michelle McCool's in there before Sable, but that's just me.
Go with it right there. Go with it right there. There's a great choice. I was going to take her, and I'll chime in after you do. But great choice on Michelle McCool. Go for it.
Yeah, Michelle McCool to me is in there literally because The Undertaker. No other reason why. I mean, that Hall of Fame speech that they gave about her and how she's such an inspiration and shit like that. You go in that locker room and ask anybody who their favorite diva is or who their favorite wrestler was coming up. Who the fuck is going to say Michelle McCool?
Seriously.
I'll wait. You know, I mean, if you ask them if they remember Sable, they're gonna say fuck yeah, and they would model after her, you know. But I mean, come on, dude. Sable should be in there if they can mend. And Raymond, I understand why she's not in there. I totally do. But if you're gonna make that comment, then think of this. You know, they're finally starting to allow China in there after she's passed away.
Sure.
You got Sunny that's still in there. There's no reason why Sable can't be in there. And matter of fact, she's married to Brock Lesnar. So, yeah. You know.
And they settled the lawsuit shit that she had with them years and years before, and she came back and worked for them afterwards. I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I don't. She's gone to some of the events. I think in the past with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yep, for sure.
I don't understand Michelle McCool other than the fact that she's the Undertaker's wife, and
that's it.
You got to. We were talking about this in our group chat last night a little bit with the stuff with his podcast. Boy, he sold his friend down the fucking river, didn't he?
That's some bullshit, dude. That you know, the respect I have for the Undertaker is fleeing by the day, dude. And I hate to say that. I know he's a lot of our favorites and on our Mount Rushmore for some of us in professional wrestling. But that Hall of Fame speech was hard to get through. Like, honestly, when he's, you know, he had one of the best Hall of Fame speeches, honestly. Like, for himself, it was great. But for his wife and to get her in there like that, like, you got to call a spade, dude. She does not belong in there at all. And then to you know, send his friend down the river like that, when, you know, he's the one that brought him up with the podcast and everything like that, dude. You know, especially when it's getting traction now, that's horrible.
I thought they were entertaining together, him and that guy too.
They were a great duo, but like just like with the LFG show, here's Michelle McCool sticking her fucking head in it again. You know, it's like
when you listen to her talk to him. Like I saw their first episode that you were talking about last night. I went back, I watched about maybe 10 minutes of it. That's about all I could choke through because it was terrible. And she is just I'm going to try to phrase this correctly, but it almost seems like she wears the fucking pants in that family and then some with him. And I'm all about loving your partner and respecting him, but she's a pretty vile speaking person to him sometimes that it seems like she chops him down a little bit. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. I think I don't know what it is. Maybe that's how their relationship was when they first met. It was kind of like he was being tamed by her kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe they got a rewind thing going on where it's like vlogging or whatever the fuck. But I don't know. She's got his nuts in her purse big time, man, because the way he acts around her and lets her get away with shit, like you could see with his last wife that was featured on WWE, he like very much was in the limelight and she was not. And Michelle McCool seems the opposite. Like she takes the spotlight, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah. He puts her on a fucking pedestal, and I think it's great to put your partner on a pedestal. I get it. But I have when I listened to some of the things from that Hall of Fame ceremony with him talking about her and her career, it's like you said, what fucking kid ever grew up and said, I want to be like Michelle McCool growing up? No.
Yeah.
When they looked at the divas and stuff from
Joey. Alundra Blaze doesn't deserve to be in there. She was a pioneer, dude. That I can't agree with. Man. I'm sorry. Alundra Blaze, she had one of the most controversial moments in wrestling history.
What's the logic behind not putting her in, Joey?
That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know.
I'd like to hear it because sometimes people can make really good points that we don't see. So I'd love to hear your logic on it for sure.
Kelly
Jim had a great Hall of Fame speech. It's still going on to this day.
Rewind, you're fired, dude.
It's still going on, folks. He's still talking about it. Him and Mr. T still talking about his mama.
Yeah.
Demolition are not in the Hall of Fame. They were in a dispute with WWE for years and weren't even on like a Legends deal. And then they fixed it up this last year, just right before I think WrestleMania season came around.
Yeah.
And they now have a Legends deal and are going to get things produced for them again and all that stuff. That's why I was surprised they didn't go in this year for Demolition. That's why I thought they were probably going to go, but they didn't go in yet. Right. I'm sure they'll go in soon, hopefully. I think they deserve to.
Absolutely.
Kelly for the Hall of Fame. Jeremy says the Bushwhackers. I agree. What about you?
That's a hard one. Bushwhackers were a really popular tag team. They didn't really need the tag team belts necessarily to be in there. So I kind of disagree with this one. I like the Bushwhackers. I think they were a legendary tag team, and everybody remembers this fucking shit and doing this when you were a kid and stuff like that. So I think they're big enough that they should be in there. I don't think they should be in there before Demolition, obviously, but you know they have their spot for sure.
I'm going to side with Jeremy that they shouldn't be in this one. And I like the Bushwhackers growing up too. I really did. I liked them. I thought they were a great gimmick and they were fucking fun for the crowd and people loved them. But Hall of Fame. All right. Now Joey makes a decent point here. Really decent point, actually.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. I really do respect this right here. He brings up a good point. She has no backbone. She took the belt and she threw it in the trash. It's a good point.
Reason for her not doing it?
Disrespecting the business and disrespecting the lineage of the championship is what Joey's kind of saying.
That is a good point. I can understand that to some extent, but I can also understand too. She was going for a controversial. I mean, they all have controversial moments like that. You know, Shane Douglas did the same thing on ECW, and look what that turned into. So, you know, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I can also say that she was a pioneer when women's wrestling was not heavily featured. She was very talented. So I could go both ways with it.
Good points from everybody around. Good perspective, though, Joey. I like that, actually.
Yeah.
It's a very valid argument for how people sit. I can see it with what you're talking about. I'd still say she's a Hall of Famer, though. That's just me. But I can understand your perspective, and it's a very, very valid point. I don't think Victoria's in yet, Lawrence. Is she Victorian?
I'm gonna throw one out there for you guys, and maybe some of you will agree with this, maybe some will disagree. This is another female one, and I'm not sexist. There's a lot of great female talent that deserves to be in there, but Molly Holly is one that I really think should not be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Interesting.
What was her big claim to be in there?
Yeah, I mean, she was the superhero, and then wasn't she?
They needed a female that year.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's like not every champion ever, like world champion for men or women, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame too.
Well, the Bella Twins, I don't think should be in there either. They're a great honorable.
They're fucking awful, aren't they?
They should not be in there. They're great for their time frame, but they should not be in there.
Terrible.
Know,
good perspective there. I like that one though. Nation of Domination needs to go in. I agree. Nation of Domination
needs to go in there. That's a really good one. Who mentioned that?
Let's see. I think that was Raymond.
Yep. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that I think as far as somebody who should be in there, I think China needs to go in alone.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she's not in there alone is disgraceful.
I agree. Especially like you said earlier, if you're judging her because she did porn, Sunny was in the Hall of Fame, and
How
all,
many sex tapes have come out with wrestlers in it?
tons of them. And you
Xavier
can't use that
Woods is
logic
still
either.
featured heavily.
Waltman and her had a sex tape that came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just petty bullshit on their end.
Right.
Chris said I was a Rockers fan, even pissed off my parents trying to do one of the arm things, getting out of the ring on our living room couch. Rockers were a great tag team, weren't they?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, dude. Marty Jannetty might be a fucking lunatic, but man, he could work in the ring, and him and Sean had a great chemistry together.
What about Don Morocco?
I've watched a little of his stuff through the years. He was retiring as I was really getting old enough to be a fan and start understanding a little bit. But I remember Don Morocco a little bit from what I saw. And my grandpa and I would talk about some of the old wrestlers some of the times and from the city because my family's from the city. And Don Morocco was somebody that, I remember my grandparents kind of talking about too in like the 60s. I think it was in the 70s, actually. 60s or late 60s, 70s, whatever, when Don Morocco, was like becoming a name. And I don't know much about his career, though, to say that he deserves to be in or not, I guess. But he's another one. He was never a world champ or anything like that. Was he an IC champ, maybe?
Maybe.
He had some decent feuds, some decent stuff that he did. He was a popular act. I don't know. What do you think?
I think the same thing. I think he's one of the weaker ones on the candidate board. Like when they were sitting there that year, they just need somebody from that era, so they throw him in there. Coco Beware's another one that I feel shouldn't be in there, but he is for some reason. Some of these guys, I wonder if it's because their family has skeletons that they know about from the WWE in their closet, and I wonder if that's why they got it. So maybe that could be a reason why. I don't know. I don't think Coco Beware should be in there either.
No, not at all. Chris was a fan of Molly during the Ruthless Aggression era. Bubba Ray square dancing with her. She tried doing the test of strength and lockup. She definitely had some funny moments, though, for sure, with Molly Holly. She was a great worker, though.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yeah. Medusa was trying to survive as the WWF dropped the women's title at that time. It didn't have much for her. WCW gave her an offer. And she probably dropped the title out of protest because of that in hopes that WCW would help her career, which it did. But WCW could have done more with a proper women's division, not the short-lived one they had. They just didn't have anybody for her at that time, really. I mean, you could only recycle so many feuds from, Japan that she had done, Bull Nakano, a couple other people they were bringing. There was no women's wrestlers at that point, too, for Medusa and periods of her career. So,
sure. Yeah. I mean, for a long time, she was the backbone of women's wrestling. And when there was nobody around,
Yeah, absolutely, man. She was the gold standard for a lot of women, and how they wanted her. And she was a good worker, too.
Yeah.
She was a good worker. Chris agrees with you on China 100%. Nation of Domination, yes, for two reasons. Number one, Ron Simmons was the first ever Black World Champion. Great point.
Yes.
And The Rock came from it. 100. Yeah.
Yep.
Nation of Domination 100% should go in as a faction.
They should. No doubt about it.
The Cat Rewind said should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, come on.
Rabbi Moses is not a fan of Sean Waltman being in. He was just a tag along in DX and NWO.
What? Okay. That's ridiculous.
WWE should have a Playboy wing in the Hall of Fame. Who would be the head of the Playboy wing? It's got to be Ric Flair.
Yeah, I'm trying. There was one in here that I wanted to say. Like, okay, here's one. Like, and people may get upset about this one too, but Jim the Anvil Neidhart,
Well, the Hart Foundation, they went.
The Hart Foundation, yes, but by himself.
He didn't go in by himself.
He didn't go in by himself?
No, he went as the Hart Foundation.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he went in by himself or something.
No. Okay, what if you going to put him in as who? You know?
Exactly.
The Who character?
Right.
Hart Foundation, yeah, definitely. I can see that for sure.
Let's see. Who else is in here?
I'll give one for you here. People praise this guy a lot as a great worker and a great trainer. And he was a career jobber, Johnny Rods.
Johnny Rods. That's a good one.
I mean, I know he was around the business and shaped a lot of minds, but Johnny Rods in the Hall of Fame? If you're going to put jobbers in the Hall of Fame, I got to go with Rewind's guy, man. Barry Horowitz is the ultimate jobber.
Yes. Al Snow should be in there then.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to put jobbers in like that, you got to bring the best jobber of all time. Barry Horowitz is the most notorious one, I think, of all time for wrestling.
Hard-working Bobby Walker should be in there.
Bobby's got a Hall of Fame anywhere he goes. All right,
He's got his own fucking lane.
We should do some Bobby Walker match watch-alongs one day.
That'd be a trip. I got one for you. I mean,
Dino's not in, Jeremy.
He's a fan favorite for sure. It made an impact in wrestling, absolutely, but I don't know if it's Hall of Fame worthy, and it's the Godfather, dude. If you're going to put the Godfather in, you might as well put Val Venus in. I know, minus the Nation of Domination. I'm saying by himself. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, the Godfather doesn't deserve to be in there by himself.
It was like, if you're going to do that, you should put in Santino Marella too.
Sure.
It was a gag, and it was a really fun gag at that, and the fans loved it. Right. You know, they loved it.
Right.
No, that's a good choice actually, right there.
Yeah. Mark Henry.
I don't see that either. Like that goes, no, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Just because you had the fucking belt once, you know, or you had a belt once or twice in your career, it doesn't mean that you.
Then everybody should be in.
Yeah, seriously. Fuck Mark Henry. I've talked enough about Mark Henry in the past that you guys know. I put him on the fucking thumbnail for this intentionally.
What about Paul Ellering?
Oh, that's hard. I say yes.
You say he's in?
Dude, the Road Warriors Legion of Doom were the biggest fucking attraction in tag team wrestling for so long. And Paul Ellering was the brainchild behind them. Of course, their manager for all those years. You know, for anybody that's never watched some of their stuff from AWA, from, you know, the early WCW points, man, go watch the Road Warriors and Paul Ellering. And
this one's gonna hurt you a little bit because I just saw it and I have to say it.
All right,
it's gonna hurt you, and I know you're gonna be upset with me. Bob Armstrong.
Bullet Bob?
Yeah.
No.
You want Bullet Bob in there?
Bullet Bob was a fucking god, man, in his territory, bro. Like,
was he?
Yeah, big time. Bullet Bob is one of the people that you'll hear old timers talk about too. That was like fucking working. It's like, you know, where we say Gunther was like a ring general in the ring. They would say Bullet Bob was the same.
He was a
massive star.
Like in the NFL, there's a lot of players that are like that were good, and if you didn't have them on the team, whatever. But is it Hall of Fame worthy?
Yes, I think Bullet Bob is for what he did in the territories for sure. He was so fucking over, Richie. You know, the Armstrong family, and they were primarily Florida, if I remember correctly, about the Armstrong family. And I think they did a lot of stuff in the like the mid-southern regions and stuff too. But, you know, the territories, there's so many of them to go to. And it's easy to not – is he on the level of a Ric Flair or a Hulk Hogan? Or, no. Absolutely not, you know. But Bullet Bob, I would say.
I guess if Hillbilly fucking Jim is in there, Bullet Bob.
I don't agree with Hillbilly being in, do you?
No.
Man.
She should.
You think as a character she was good enough to be Hall of Fame?
I think women should be in there, yeah.
Okay, I don't agree on that one.
I don't think she should be in there anytime soon, but down the road, yes.
Hey, Rabbi, do you have a hard-on for me? Because I can help you, trust me.
Jesus Christ. Oh, God, that went off the rails.
Ray Combs from the Family Feud needs to be in. He was part of one match in WrestleMania 9, and he clowned on the Mountie.
Tatanka would be a good one.
In the Hall of Fame?
I think so.
He had like a 2-year undefeated streak.
Yeah. That's hard to do.
Yeah, he was a shooter, Chris. People tell the story about Bullet Bob, what a bad dude he was, and what a nice guy.
I'm not saying he's not a bad dude or not a great worker. Yeah, I'm just saying I don't know if his career was hot, because we were talking about Rikishi and Godfather and stuff like that. They had great careers. They were great characters. The program wouldn't have been as good without him, but is it Hall of Fame worthy?
We can't leave this person out at all. All right. This is probably the biggest one that people say is the worst wrestler. I'm going to use that word loosely. Use this wrestler, you know, is like, it's, if you ask people who are wrestling fans and you say, who's the worst Hall of Fame inductee? I think probably everybody would say this person, and they beat Coco Beware. It's Sharmell.
Sharmell's in the fucking Hall of Fame? I don't remember that.
She went in like 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was. I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. She's worse than Michelle McCool.
Horrible. Okay.
Why?
Horrible. What the fuck?
Like, Deborah should be in there before Sharmell.
Yeah. Think about this.
managers.
You don't got people, like real women's champions and things like that, women that could work that aren't even in the Hall of Fame yet. I don't think Victoria Tara's in there yet. And you're going to put Charmel in over her.
Right.
Jazz isn't in there, but you're going to put Charmel over her.
Yeah.
I mean, she's probably the worst one of all time to go in.
That's
Coco
garbage.
Beware might be up there in the top 3 or 4, but I got
Deborah McMichael should be in there, dude.
What was that?
Deborah McMichael should be in there.
If Charmel's in there, man, why not throw her in? And I hate to say this last one too for women. I think she's one of the hottest women ever in professional wrestling. Just naturally beautiful. Yeah, she just looks like a beautiful soul and beautiful person too. Has a beautiful family now, and it seems like she's doing wonderful. Seems like just the greatest fucking lady, just a super salt of the earth, nice woman. What the fuck did she do to deserve to go in the Hall of Fame? Yeah.
Tori Wilson actually has accolades and why, but I can understand why Tori Wilson was in there. She was an actual needle mover. Stacy Keibler was a moment of, she came on and she was hot and whatever, and then when she was gone, it wasn't like she was a good wrestler. It wasn't like she didn't do anything, So I don't know. She's a good manager, I guess. That's about it.
I'm looking at a few of the people here, and all right, I got another one. And this isn't a knock on him. It seems like a great worker, nice person over time. Definitely had a gimmick that was good for what they were doing. But Nikolai Volkov, I'd see him here.
Rewind. Nicole Bass.
Rewind loves Nicole Bass.
Dude, it's pretty funny.
He said the most. Yeah, well, Rewind likes somebody that you can tie down and flog. I think Nicole might have been into that today. No, he's not in the Hall of Fame, Lawrence, and I don't think that he's ever going to go in. She did have some amazing legs, though, Raymond, and still does. She is a beautiful woman.
I believe that Edge and Christian should go in, obviously, at some stage.
As a team.
Yeah, they need to, for sure.
What about Tony Atlas? Do you think Tony Atlas deserves to be in?
He's another one, man. It's another one that they're just throwing out there to feature in the Hall of Fame just because he's from that era. He was mid-card at best. He was nothing, It was a blip in time, dude. There was a lot better people you could put in there. Is Jesse Ventura in the Hall of Fame yet?
I believe he is not, but somebody tell me if I'm wrong here. I'm trying to look through the list actually right now, but I haven't seen his name. Maybe he came in. I'll let you know if I see it, but I'm looking. I'm at about 2008 right here now. I'll throw one out here that I don't think should be in as well. Great career, but he got in because of his son, Soul Man Rocky Johnson.
Soul Man Rocky Johnson is not one that should be in there at all. I'm sorry. He didn't do any accolades that really weren't Hall of Fame worthy. Again, more like a Godfather, more like a Rikishi. Fun guy to have in the business, not really a needle mover.
Mad Dog Vachon. I really don't know much about Mad Dog Vachon's career in any way, but
that's another one.
Yeah, that was 2010 he went in.
Did they put Luna in too?
No, Luna's not in.
Luna's not in. Okay.
Nope, she's not in. Bob Uecker. I love Bob Uecker. I'm seeing that. I don't think he's Hall of Fame worthy, but man, I love Bob Uecker.
I mean, you have to have Sergeant Slaughter in there, obviously.
Yeah.
Tito Santana's another one.
I think Tito definitely deserves it.
You think so?
Yeah, Tito was a great man, dude. Tito Santana was over, bro.
Yeah,
he was one of the top baby faces for Vince for a long ass time, bro. Tito sold out a lot of buildings in his day, man.
That's crazy to me. I don't know. Tito Santana's just not a big one to me.
Multiple time tag champion, IC champ, everything like that.
Well, at least he's got the title belts.
Yeah, Jesse is in. The guy said, "All right, Jesse is in."
That's the reason we got Razor Ramon. He based his character off of that. Is that what you're trying to say?
Off of who?
Tito Santana. Did Scott Hall say that was a big?
No, I'm not saying that with Tito. That Tito was.
No. I'm saying in the chat somebody said that.
It's Chico Santana. Tito is the reason. Explain that, Chris.
I would like to know.
I've never heard that story. Somewhere? Sorry, I was catching up with the comments. Took me a second.
No, you're fine,
guys.
This is a fun one.
Scott Hall saw him in the locker room and asked him for a Spanish name with an R. All right, interesting. I never knew that, Chris. That's interesting. I love the Chico Santana when Jesse would call him Chico.
That's a good one.
And then he named his finisher the flying burrito or some shit like that.
Do you think that do you think that like the Wild Samoans should be in there?
I don't know much about them. I know they were a pretty big act and all that at that time, but that was before my time. So I never watched them growing up. But from what I've seen through the years, they were a really big act all throughout the country and stuff too. Yeah. And they had a heck of a, they had a good run in WWF, but I don't know. I'm not a big knowledgeable person on the Samoans.
Do you think Eric Bischoff should be in there?
Absolutely.
Me too. And why the fuck is he not in there? I think he should have went in before Paul Heyman.
He is in.
Eric Bischoff's in there?
Yeah, he went in and
I don't see him in here.
He went in, I think, about 2 or 3 years ago.
Eric Bischoff did.
Yep. He went in about 2 or 3 years ago. On this list. Let's see.
Oh, he did. 2021. You're right.
2021, yeah. So I said,
good. Thank God.
Oh, he absolutely fucking deserves to be in there.
Yeah.
Looking through their list, though, from like, I'm on 2011 right now. For the most part, like, they had a pretty good, track record of picking pretty worthy people at this time. Like, here, let me just read off like a few of the years and the people that went in.
I think now that Vince McMahon is out of there, they're picking more people that deserve to be in.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. I think a lot more people that actually deserve it.
For the most part, but they've had some huge misses through the last few years too. That are head scratchers.
A big head scratcher.
Lots of head scratchers through the years too. So I'm not going to throw that all off of Vince, for what he would do. But
yeah,
they got to step it up a little bit more, I think. Listen to these names like that have gone in. I know you mentioned Bob Armstrong earlier, but here's 2011: Shawn Michaels, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Sonny, Abdul the Butcher, Legion of Doom, Paul Ellering, and then Drew Carey. I mean, those are, for the wrestler side of things, those are all respectable names that definitely, I think,
deserve to be in there.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool now that they have AAA to see who they put in now.
Yeah.
Conan's going to go in there probably. Vampiro might get in there. You never know the opportunities that we might get to see with that now.
Sure.
So it's a good one.
Look at 2012. This is a great year for them, too, of selections. Mil Mascaras, Edge, The Four Horsemen, Mike Tyson, Ron Simmons, Yokozuna. I mean, all great picks there, right?
Yep, that was a good one.
Mick Foley, this is 2013. Mick Foley, Bob Backlund, Trish Stratus, Bruno Sammartino, Booker T.
2020 was kind of a head scratcher because, like, I'm glad that the NWO went in, right? You got John Bradshaw Layfield, totally get it. British Bulldog, I get it. Jushin Thunder Liger. But then you have the Bella Twins.
I'll never understand why they're in there.
You got the Great Khali in 2021. That is another one. Why in the fuck is the Great Khali in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, they started having some real fucking stinkers around, let's see. It's looking like 2018 is when they started
Queen
to have
Carmel went in when the Steiner brothers went in.
That was okay. Ugh.
Stacy Keibler went in with the Great Muta. Like, what the fuck? When they were sitting around a table and they're like, okay, we're going to induct Rey Mysterio, Great Muta, Andy Kaufman, and Stacy Keibler. Who the fuck was that, dude? Come on.
Yeah,
some of these, it's a real. You don't know how they fucking figured that all out when they were sitting there.
Yeah. What the fuck did the Great Khali ever do to get in?
I don't know, but I think that the New Age Outlaws need to go in as a tag team by themselves, even besides DX.
Because they've only gone in as DX, right?
Correct.
They're definitely fucking worthy on their own.
Yeah, I'm glad Triple H is in there. I think if you don't put Vince McMahon in there, it's ridiculous.
The U.S. Express in 24 was one I just didn't get. I love Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda; they're great competitors.
Sure.
But
why they went in.
Because of Bray.
Bray Wyatt.
100%.
And Bray Wyatt better be in there too.
Oh, he's definitely going in one day. We'll get to a few of the comments here. Sorry, guys. I wasn't ignoring you. I was just going through the list. Rabbi Moses says no to Bischoff. He killed him. WCW.
So is Dean Malenko in there?
No, he's not.
Dean Malenko should be in there. I think Malenko's father should be in there. I think Perry Saturn at some stage should be in there.
How the fuck is Cornette not in?
Good Cornette should be. Good Lord, I know he's rubbed the company pretty raw. I mean, but he should definitely be in there, dude. There's no reason why Cornette shouldn't be.
Yeah, good pick on that one, Chris.
Vince Russo should be in there.
You think so?
Why wouldn't he? He wrote one of the hottest points of time in wrestling. Why would Vince Russo not be in there?
I think he's worthy when it's a fringe
wrote,
one for it's a fringe
the
one.
Attitude Era.
He did, but there was also other people that helped too. I know he's the prime person for it, and he did an amazing job with it. Yeah, thinking about it, yeah, I would agree with you. I think he deserved it for sure.
Disco Inferno should be in there. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to see your reaction,
way.
dude.
No, I ain't signing on. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I mean, it put the world of wrestling on its ass, man, and changed everything around. So
he did.
Yeah.
He was a controversial figure. If you're gonna put anybody in there like Paul Heyman and stuff, Vince Russo should be in there. Ken Shamrock should be in there.
Yeah, how's he not in there yet?
Raymond Cruz, thank you.
If Michelle can
Ken
get
Shamrock,
in,
I've been saying that forever. He needs to be in there.
He will be, I think, soon. I do.
Why would you not put Ken Shamrock? He was one of the big crossover guys that legitimized that whole Attitude Era thing. I mean, Shamrock was a big one for them.
Kevin Sullivan, is he in?
I think he is in.
Let's see. Let's see if it's recent. I don't think I know he passed away, unfortunately, last year. I don't think that Kevin Sullivan is in the Hall of Fame. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe he's in the Hall of Fame. I think he's worthy of it for sure.
Christian Cage, I don't know why he's not in there.
I think it's just because he's with AEW now, bro.
Yeah.
I think that's quite simply, that's the main reason. I would agree 1,000% about Ken. I think Shane's worthy
Big Show
of it.
In?
Not yet, no.
Why is Big Show not in?
I think it's because he's been under contract to AEW for the same reason too.
Yeah, but Billy Gunn got in there, so why not?
Yeah, I mean they could make it work if they wanted it to.
Yep.
No way. I agree with you on this one. Mick Foley deserves to be in all day, Rabbi.
Yeah.
But it's business exposing if you put him in. That's the problem with as much as I love Vince. Good point there too, Chris. I know the Great Khali is big in India, and I can see from that standpoint with him being in the Hall of Fame.
He didn't accomplish shit.
I don't think he.
What did he accomplish?
Yeah.
The karate chop from hell? I mean, like...
I don't know what he really ate. The Punjabi fucking prison match.
At that point, put Adam Rose in there. Fuck it. Like, come on.
Ken Shamrock, Shane McMahon.
Put the fucking rabbit that Adam Rose used to wrestle in there then, too.
I forgot about that guy. The Rosebuds, right?
Yeah, the Rosebuds.
Jerry Jarrett, yeah.
Jerry Jarrett. I think Jeff Jarrett should be in there. I think, God, who was I just thinking of should be in there, too? I was just thinking of somebody. Tony Schiavone should be in there at some stage.
Yeah, he doesn't want to, though. I don't think he wants to. I agree with you on Tony. He should definitely be. Sullivan's not in there, Rabbi Moses says.
Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler, I know, are in the Hall of Fame, but they should go in as a duo. And if you don't think so, I'm sorry. But those two, I mean, they were the reason why a big reason why I tuned into Raw every week. So
Lance Russell, that's a name right there. I believe Lance Russell still alive, Joey? I think he might be. Let me see.
Okay, what about I know you don't like this person.
Go for it.
But the impact, you can't argue that the guy didn't have an impact, and the reason why ECW was a big reason out there, why it was great and stuff like that. But the franchise, man, Shane Douglas, I mean, he wasn't a bad wrestler. For the time that he was in ECW, he was much like Raven. That was the only time he was really firing on all cylinders. But he was a really controversial figure. I think that his moment that he had where he turned the belt into Extreme Championship Wrestling was a huge moment for them. And I think the franchise was a huge thing for ECW. So I think he should be in.
Make good points. I don't disagree with that. Might not be
his WCW run was garbage. When he was the Dean, it was horrible. But
Dean Douglas, he's one of the people that put ECW on the map. Let's be realistic. He's part of some of their biggest storylines and feuds ever. Yep. So Rick Martel's not in because Rick Martel doesn't want to be in, Jeremy. He doesn't like to be around the wrestling world. He has his own life outside of it. And he's openly said through the years that, when people occasionally can get him to do an appearance, which he almost never does. But they'll tell you, people who are close to Rick Martel, that he just says it's no disrespect to the business. He just doesn't want to be a part of anything with it anymore. And he doesn't care about that stuff. But yeah, that's the reason Rick's not in. I'm sure they probably tried to get him in many times. Double J is already in. That's for sure.
Oh, that's right. Jeff Jarrett. Yep.
Yeah.
Joey
Yeah,
Styles
Chris,
should go in. Yep.
he died in 2017, Chris, but Lance was a legendary voice. Him and Bob Caudle are two names that a lot of people like Jim Ross you'll hear talk about that were big monumental parts of their evolution and what they followed. I believe, if I remember correctly, Jim Ross always says Bob Caudle was the greatest of all time. If I remember, I think Jim Ross says, and if Jim Ross is putting you over as a commentator, that's when you know you're good.
Yeah.
His rosebuds did become bigger than he did. That's for sure.
Did.
When you go back and you look at some of those ones of people that were in it through the years, they were pushing him as the big star and everybody else as the background act. And boy, he flubbed out real fast.
Yep.
Yeah, Bob Caudle. Bob Caudle. No, he's not in. I don't think. But I agree with you, Rabbi. Bob Caudle, I believe, is the one that actually still alive, not Lance Russell.
Is Taz in the Hall of Fame?
He is not. No.
Do you think he will be?
I think he should be, and I think he will be one day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when he gets, goes to the AEW thing. I think when they get out from under contract with them, I think a guy like, do you think Taz should be in for real?
I think, yeah, I think he deserves it. I think he did enough in ECW. His like I said, his WWE run was pretty lame. But as far as ECW, like if we're being honest here and truthful, his ECW run was legendary, and there's nothing like it. So. Bam Bam Bigelow's in there, so you got to put Taz in, right? I mean,
Bam Bam's not in the Hall of Fame.
Bam Bam is not in the Hall of Fame?
Nope.
You got to put Bam Bam in, dude.
I agree.
What the fuck is that? Bam Bam's not in there?
Yeah, I don't believe he's in. Let's see if he.
Bam Bam's got to be in there.
He is not.
Holy shit. Bam Bigelow needs to go in there, dude.
I'm going through them all right now, so.
Tommy Dreamer definitely needs to be in.
Bam Bam's one of the best big men of all time.
Sandman needs to be in. Sabu needs to be in. Those are all guys that need to go in.
Ding Dongs and the Mulkeys, yes. Jim Herd, what a turd he was. For you know about Jim Herd, right?
Oh yeah.
Mike Tenay should definitely be in Rewind. He's another one. I just think they said that he just doesn't have anything to do with anything anymore.
Why is that?
I don't know. I wonder why.
Because he would be great for the AAA stuff right now.
Apparently with him is that
Did we just have Jeremy say the Raging fucking Lash LaRue? Woo whoop!
The Raging Cajun, Lash LaRue. Whew. No, but Tenay apparently has a very successful gambling business that he does, or some
Mike Tenay does?
Yeah, he's a big sports gambler.
Wow, dude.
I've heard people talk about him. They say he's one of the smartest gamblers you'll ever see, and it's like a business that he has, or that is his business now. He lives in Vegas and he gambles, and that's what he does. So I'm sure people have tried to lure him out throughout the years. I would have popped huge to see Mike Tenay on commentary, like an AEW show like tonight that they did in Mexico, or if WWE would have done it at Worlds Collide. How fitting would that be to bring Mike Tenay out? But how many of those fans would even know Mike Tenay, right?
Right.
That's sad.
That is sad.
Yeah.
I was just thinking if they do continue the Hall of Fame and everything, which they will, because WWE owns the and the library and everything else, they could do like WCW wings, ECW wings. They could branch out and do that kind of stuff.
I think it's inevitable that it's going to happen one day. I think if they get a physical building, it's a great way they should do it.
Yeah.
I thought Jim Carville was the Raging Cajun. Great movie line there from Old School. I think that's what you're referring to, the movie Old School, Chris. One of my favorite movies of all time. The Raging Cajun.
Yeah.
Anybody else you can think of?
Off the top of my head right now, there's it's kind of hard. I mean, Dean Malenko is one that I wanted to mention tonight for sure. I thought that he should be in there. He's definitely one. His dad should be in there. I don't understand why he's not.
I think his dad is in there, actually.
His dad is?
Yeah, the great Malenko, Boris Malenko, I think his name is.
Good, Boris Malenko. Okay.
Yeah, I believe he's in there. The early years of the WWE Hall of Fame get forgotten from people because they don't have the internet like they do now, and it was privately held things that they would do, and they would have a little bit of clips for it. Would you put Mongo in?
Mongo. That's a tough one. If they ever invent a WCW wing, I would, just because of his run with the Four Horsemen. And he was a great announcer too. So for those two reasons, I think, yeah, I mean, his run with the Four Horsemen was awesome. So up until the point that he went in that program with Goldberg, he was on his way up there to be a big star. So, and he legitimized. He was one of those things where it was like a celebrity hopping over from the NFL and stuff like that. And then you had Reggie White come over, and you had Kevin Green. So yeah, Mongo was one of the reasons that happened.
Mongo had been around all the way back to the Bam Bam Bigelow and Lawrence Taylor match at WrestleMania. He was in there. He was involved in it on LT's corner. So Mongo's a fringe guy to me, but if it was a WCW side, maybe for sure.
Yeah.
I love Mongo as a person, and God rest his soul that he's in heaven now.
Thank God he finally. I mean, he's free from that disease, man.
Mongo is a legend, man, in every way. Not the greatest worker of all time, of course, but he had some fun moments for us too, and a guy that had absolutely no training.
They got to put the oddities in there, bro. They got to put
oddities.
They got to put the oddities. They got to put who's that tag team that you hate? Public Enemy.
Public Enemy in there. Dude, I haven't seen them in ages since we haven't done any WCW Nitro watch-alongs in a long time.
They got to put Public Enemy in there.
Those fucking idiots.
What about American Males?
Oh, dude. Did you just say the American Males?
Yes. Sign me up if we're putting American Males in. I listen on my dashboard. Pumps me up.
Here we go.
American Males.
Bam. Here they come.
Males. Come on, baby.
I got this right on the background music thing here.
I love it.
I mean, just like when I listen to this song every morning when I wake up, I just want to get my day going, and I want to be like them. Here we go.
American Males, American Males, American Males.
God, what a
American Males are in Wrestling with Reality Hall of Fame.
American Males, American
This is one of the best lines ever in a song.
Better run, girls, you don't need a weekend lover. American Males.
Dude,
What
Scotty
the fuck
Riggs
is a weekend lover?
Scotty Riggs should have been like a really big act in WCW.
He had a great look, didn't he?
He did, dude. Especially back then with the grunge shit. Like,
You want to know what the problem with Scotty Riggs is, though?
what?
The guy's a fucking charisma vacuum, bro. He has none.
Yeah, dude, you're right.
He's got fucking zero, man. Looks like a nice guy.
Oh, God, dude, that's funny.
What?
Oh, poor Scotty Riggs.
Dude, he's a charisma vacuum, man.
I'm so glad that he's like on the comeuppance, though.
Oh, I'm glad to see it too. He looks like an awesome dude in real life as a person, man. I'm rooting for him.
Charisma vacuum.
He is. He just sucks the fucking life out of it. He just gets nothing from anybody. If it wasn't for the American Males music, in the clap, there wouldn't have been shit to him.
God, I think I'd rather get the clap than fucking.
Public Enemy. Fuck off, Lawrence. No.
Yes, Lawrence.
God,
yes.
I know you love them.
Yes.
They're fucking awful.
Yes.
In fairness,
ECW, they were awesome, dude.
Okay, in fairness, and
WCW, they were trash. ECW, they were awesome.
They were really over in ECW. And we watched that watch along last year, I think it was, and in fairness, I actually put them over in that match that they had. I think it was against the Gangsters.
I'll tell everybody you did do that.
Yeah, they were fucking fun in that match in ECW. But
and they had
Hall
some
of Fame
vignettes in ECW too that were funny.
When you see them coming, better run for cover. Girls, you don't need a weekend. That might be one of the worst but most catchy theme songs of all time.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
Dude, American Males aerobic segment on the show. You don't want to see me doing aerobics, Lawrence.
Who was the karate guy that was like he wore red and black?
Jerry Flynn.
Like Lightning Foot, right?
Yeah, Jerry Flynn.
Yeah, Lightning Foot. Did you guys know he actually was the original person that came out to Goldberg's song?
Pat Tanaka did too at one point.
Pat Tanaka did too, yeah.
Yeah. Jerry Lynn, if you have never, I'm not talking about
Jerry Flynn, not Jerry Lynn.
Excuse me. Yeah,
there's two big differences.
That was going to be my point there, and I fucked
Jerry
that up.
Lynn should be in the Hall of Fame.
Jerry Lynn don't confuse this with Jerry Lynn and Jerry Flynn. Jerry Flynn was a WCW jobber that was a karate champion that would come out. He had a mullet, and he just looked like he
His
smoked.
pants said lightning foot.
Yeah. Bro, he strikes me as the type of guy that smokes about a carton of cigarettes a day.
And a ball of meth. Good
Yeah.
Lord.
A fucking bowl of
Dude, if they
gold,
made an action figure called Alabama Man, that
Yeah.
would be the guy, dude. With
fucking
a
goldfish
passport
bowl
in
of
one
meth for
hand
this guy.
and karate chopping action in the other.
Bro, he looked like he'd like just smoked from the minute he woke up.
That
till
is
the
a
minute-
domestic violence Jerry Springer episode all in one character. Good God.
Dude, what made you think? Look at, hold on, I'm gonna put a picture of up for people to
Dude,
go.
I'm gonna bust a gut like God, that's gonna be
Look
Yeah,
at this
lightning
fucking
foot.
doofus. Hold on. Let me pop this up. All right. I'm
one
gonna
of the
bring it on
best
stream.
jobbers of all time.
Oh, bro. I think we did that. We did that a while ago, but this is just look
Jerry
at this
Flynn.
fucking goof. Jerry.
Yeah. He should have been Bret Hart's first opponent.
Look at this fucking guy right here.
That guy's look at that face. That's a face only a mother can love.
Bro,
He's got a
Does this
face
guy-
for radio, bro.
dude, this guy looks like your drunk uncle that
Oh my
is still
God,
rolling
he's-
around in his
He should have
T-top
came out
fucking.
with a Pabst Blue Ribbon
Dude.
fucking robe on, man.
He's got a carton of Marlboro fucking Reds or Camels or fucking Pall Malls or unfiltered. He's got a fucking 12-pack of PBR sitting right next to him.
Man,
Styrofoam cooler, too.
that's like the Red Rooster fucking from Wish.
Jerry fucking Flynn, bro.
Good Lord.
What a fucking
Him and
tool.
Barry Horowitz would fucking tear the house down.
What an ugly fuck he was, too.
Jesus Christ.
WCW had some horrible jobbers at some points, didn't they?
Wasn't there like Roadblock and fucking like
Yeah, Roadblock, the guy that came out in a fucking or construction sign. He'd carry a construction sign.
yeah.
Did you ever see Roadblock's finisher?
No, was it awesome?
Oh,
Was it awesome? We gotta show it.
all right, hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
No.
This thing looked like it just
Jerry
was.
Flynn should have been like on the Karate Kid reboot.
Dude, he probably was. They probably slid him in there somewhere.
Dude.
Let's see if they got it on YouTube.
GPCs. I forgot about those cigarettes, Joey. That's
What are they called,
GPC cigarettes. Dude, that's so awesome.
bro? The
Hey,
title of this,
don't be hating on Natty Daddy, bro.
bro. You mentioned Roadblock, and here's his finisher. I think it is what we're going to show here in a second, but let me get through the ad. I got it. Like the person that titled this is fantastic for the title for it. It says
Ernest the Cat Miller.
it says for this about Roadblock. It says the top 1 moves of Roadblock.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. You got to see
Top
this.
one move.
Yeah, you got to see this fucking guy's finisher.
He's the man of one hold.
Dean Malenko had 1,000. Chris Jericho had 1,004. Roadblock had 1.
Had one.
All right, let's pop it up. Wait till you see this fucking thing.
He actually beat somebody in WCW.
Yeah, I guess it was probably on WCW Saturday Night or Pro.
This just doesn't seem fair anymore.
Yep, Saturday night. Is that Lash LaRue?
Oh, scoop
That might be is that the Raging
Just
Cajun? I
drops
don't
It
know.
is, dude.
of Roadblock.
This is his finisher
Now
right here.
steps
Watch this
over
shit.
the top rope.
Oh,
How
we've seen
impressive
this
is
guy
that?
No.
over. Oh, he called that
What
the
in
dead
the
end.
flying shit was that?
And you know what?
Look at that guy's face.
I don't blame him
Look at him.
at all.
He's got a fucking
Last
dead
move.
end sign on his
He
costume.
should have been in the oddities for sure, dude. Good Lord.
Fucking Roadblock.
The fuck is that thing?
What a finisher for that was, bro.
Ugh.
Ernest
That
the
reminds
Cat.
you of the Giant? What the fuck is wrong with you, Lawrence? You got some zingers tonight, my boy.
Jerry Flynn and the Karate Kid reboot would be interesting. I saw the Karate Kid reboot actually 2 weeks ago, Richie.
The show or the movie?
The new Karate Kid Legends.
Ah,
Good movie. If you're a fan of the Karate Kid series and Cobra Kai, has no Cobra Kai's in it, but Necro Butcher. That's an insane
Oof.
man right there.
wow.
Good topic. Good pick tonight, though, Richie.
Yeah, not bad. It's been fun, dude. I like this one. I think we need to do more topical shows. I think that's when we do our best. And I hope everybody enjoys them. Honestly, sometimes the watch alongs get a little stale, and we apologize. That's why we try to freshen it up.
Yep.
I'm looking forward. We need to do a booking show here real soon, or a contest like we were doing, or maybe even a trivia night would be fun here real soon.
I was thinking about doing a trivia night over the next month, too, earlier. I was thinking about it. When I was
We always
thinking
have good times when we do that.
Yeah, we'll have to. we'll have to think on a good one on that for over the next couple of weeks on what would be a good trivia topic that we could do.
Yep.
We had a lot of fun the other trivias that we've done recently, so I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm interested. Next week's going to be a fun one too, looking at that Georgia Dome Nitro and stuff, especially to kind of symbolize the end of Goldberg's career. I think that's going to be.
We got to make that episode all about Goldberg. We'll do a topical part, and then we'll watch.
Yeah, we'll do some good random discussion on Goldberg and that monumental moment in his career and everything like that.
Yeah.
Jeremy, hit us with your idea, man. What you got, buddy?
Yeah. Hope you guys are enjoying the content that we got. Let us know if there's any, suggestions you got, what you want to see, man. We want to give the people what they want. So we love making content for you guys. It's one of my favorite nights of the week, and I enjoy what we're doing here. I hope you guys are enjoying it, and we're gonna keep going with this thing, man. So,
no doubt about it, Jeremy. You can shoot me that idea, and you just shoot me a text with it, man. We'll run it by Richie, and we'll talk about it and see what we got for that. If we don't catch you in time, I think we did pro wrestling theme songs a while back. Isn't that when I slaughtered you?
I think that was one of the ones I think I might have barely won that one.
Man, I have to go back and look and see who the winner was.
Yeah.
Last I knew, we were tied.
We were tied. We need a tiebreaker. It has to happen.
I'll beat you any time of the week. You know?
Well, it definitely won't be in beer drinking.
Well, we're gonna have to. Real American beer is available here in New York now, so we might have to have a.
How
Real
American is it though? I don't know. I think that we shouldn't handicap the race here. Let's just stick to what we know. Let's drink Coors Light. It's a good beer.
All right.
The Silver Bullet. It's a Steve Weiser. I'll drink whatever you want. I'll let you pick the beer. I'll still beat you.
I destroyed you, but because I forgot about the little foam in there.
Forgot a sip.
It was the foam.
In the Air Force, they leave this much beer back in their shit. I can't help it.
Oh, buddy. One day we're gonna have a drunken chug off here on the show. Wouldn't that be a fun topic?
We need to do a drunk chug off, and we need to watch fucking Ready to Rumble while we do it.
Ready to Rumble, no holds barred marathon.
Oh,
what's
God.
that smell?
Piss drunk. Yeah.
Well, guys, we had a great time tonight. Fantasy book and Ultimate Trios team that never happened. Interesting. We'll see.
Maybe.
I don't know if we can get a whole show out of that, but I like the topic. Yeah. It's a good idea to think of. I don't know if we can get a whole show out of that one, though. We'll see. Good idea, though. I like plenty of ideas. Throw them out there. Keystone. You like Keystone? It's the same as Coors Light.
Come on, dude. That is not true. That is not true.
They're manufactured by Coors, right?
That's okay.
It's not the same. Tastes
it don't have
almost
the Blue
exactly.
Mountains. It has Silver Mountains.
I haven't had a Keystone Light though in probably about fucking 20 years. So
yeah, that's probably the bottom of the barrel swill.
Oh my God, that's got to be. Is there anything worse than Keystone?
Man, I don't know, but if Real American beer is anything like that old workout set he used to sell, man, and the vitamins, I don't know.
Hey, the Hulk Hogan vitamins as a kid, bro. Those things.
You had them?
Yes.
Wow.
And they tasted, dude.
Did you ever have the WW? Dude, this could be a topical show in its own. Like,
okay.
we could talk about fucking wrestling merchandise and stuff like that. And God knows I was a collector of that stuff. You saw all that. But did you ever have the WWF ice creams when they came out?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, they tried to remake it recently, but it didn't have that fucking cheap ass cookie taste that the old ones used to have that I loved. So they sucked.
It had that vanilla, like the vanilla cookie on the outside. Like
so bomb.
Oh my God. It was like very light colored. They put the pictures of the wrestlers on it. And then that ice cream just melted in your mouth with the cookie around it.
Please bring that back. And the real ones, not this bullshit one that's
remanufacture the old fucking recipe for it. Because that shit. Man.
Or the barrels, the juice barrels. Does anyone remember those from the Attitude Era? The juice barrels that were like the ones that you get in prison or jail. And they would put fucking Shamrock or the hug barrels, dude. WWF had a round of that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Really?
Yeah, they did.
God, they probably marketed some fucking crazy shit through the years, bro.
They did, dude. They had wrestling Tamagotchis.
Oh my God, that was the worst fucking toy ever, wasn't
it? Yeah.
Keystone is the natty heart of beer. Keystone's not anything good to me.
No.
I don't think we're having stuff to drink. What are you doing, Moses? before.
Yeah, no shit.
The Hogan vitamins, though, let me tell you about the vitamins as a kid when I was growing up. You get the Hogan vitamins or you get the Flintstone vitamins. These things were like eating fucking candy. You wanted to take, oh, bro, they tasted so good. They were
They
like,
were like the Flintstone ones?
yeah, the Flintstone ones and the Hogan ones were like all the same thing. They were all the same types of taste.
Nice.
And it was like eating a sweet tart, when you would get these
Yep.
things. My mom was big on making you take your vitamins and shit. I never missed a morning. I'd sneak a couple extra Hulk Hogan vitamins just for the taste in the morning.
Did you take your vitamins and say your prayers like a good Hulkster?
Every day, brother.
There you go.
Every day, man.
That's awesome.
Every day. All right, guys. Been a blast as always. Richie, closing thoughts before we get out of here, buddy.
I appreciate you guys as always, man. You guys make us want to come back and keep doing this thing. You guys are all great, from Rewind to Lawrence, Rabbi, Jeremy, all you guys, man. You guys are all awesome. Raymond, just keep coming back, watching the content. We'll keep making it for you guys. And enjoy the future content. Give us some suggestions if you want to see it. I mean that personally. You guys know we're a very user-friendly show. And we'll see your ass down the road.
Yeah, sorry I didn't open the phone lines up tonight, guys. They're phone lines, whatever. The stream line.
1-800-909-9900.
Yes, so we were having such good dialect and and just some of you guys had some great comments tonight. So we went through everything. So we didn't do the our normal that we do. So I apologize for that, but we'll make it up next week. We'll have some. Maybe we'll let you guys come on when we're doing the watch along. Closing thoughts from Rabbi. Taz sucks. Bro, this is a hell of
That is not Rewind, bro.
Rewind says, thanks for the show. You made me laugh a bunch tonight, Richie.
You're welcome.
You're
buddy.
on your game. Lawrence, absolutely.
Much
pleasure.
love to you.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. We're going to do that fun watch along. We're going to talk all about Goldberg. We'll talk about a streak that night. The whole night will be devoted to Goldberg's career and that big moment from that Nitro that we're going to watch from the Georgia Dome. So we'll bring some of you guys on with, if you want to watch along with us when you come on that night. It's a fun episode, trust me, because that's a great Nitro, one of the better ones that they had in the history of it. The atmosphere alone, if you've never seen it, man, I can't wait to go back.
Incredible.
One to go live a little bit in time with the old WCW stuff. I'm always a fan to watch that. Hey, Raymond, thanks, man. Appreciate it. It's nice to see you coming out as well. Make sure you follow the channel, please, and plenty more fun stuff to come, guys. We'll see you next Wednesday, as we're here every Wednesday about 10 to 10:30 Eastern time. So we'll see you guys next week.